Now, if you've changed the way you use social media lately, you have plenty of company. According to a new Associated Press poll, the Cambridge Analytica privacy scandal is having an impact on everyone. Now, while Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg says his company is taking steps to protect privacy, some people are not waiting. A huge majority, 7 out of 10 people who have heard about the data mining, are pulling back their online presence. They're unfollowing accounts, deleting their profiles, and using social media entirely differently. Arise News business editor Andrew Schmertz is back here, but we're also being joined by Laura Mignon. She is the CEO of the experience agency D-Flash. She's also the host of the Reset podcast. Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Laura, let me ask you, now that we've had a few weeks since the Cambridge Analytica scandal broke and Mark Zuckerberg testified, and we can look at this a little bit with some space, where does Facebook's brand stand now among consumers, do you think?
So they've gotten a significant hit, but it's not going to be company destroying or have real significant long-term effects. Yes, people are reducing their social media usage, but there's still billions of dollars to be made. So as long as they start making some changes that people can actually see that are not just cosmetic, they're going to be fine.
So they're going to be fine, but some features have been shut down. Specifically, I'm looking at that chatbot.
Oh, absolutely. It's interesting. You know, the chatbot Messenger was exploding, and then they pulled it back. And so you have all these amazing developers who are coming up with these great campaigns with huge brands like Nordstrom and Pep Boys, and now they're like, okay, we can't do this. That's happening, but now Facebook is now going to be bringing some of those things back. So again, they're kind of waiting for the heat to come off and people to kind of remember that part of the reason that you love Facebook is the ability to connect with people, brands to connect with consumers. That's not going away. And so once you make those changes, you're going to get them back on.
Yeah, I wonder how much of the outrage was like fake outrage.
It's
a little
faux
bit.
outrage.
Exactly, it's faux outrage.
It's faux rage.
Because people are voluntarily giving all this information on Facebook. So they're voluntarily putting it out there in public, and it is being scraped for data. But you saw it from Congress where they didn't really understand the product. I wonder how much people are saying, yeah, we know this about Facebook, that's okay.
And that's the whole thing. I think what we've gone from an area where it's like, oh, well, I'm so upset by Facebook, but I'm not going to delete my account. Why? I love my cat videos. I want to keep connecting with my friends from high school. I still want to be in those private groups that are around, supports, whether it's women's health or my favorite sports teams. Those things aren't going away because basically the connections and bonds that Facebook has brought to life are now deeply entrenched in human behavior. Think about how many times per day you probably pick up your phone and check your Facebook feed. Those numbers haven't gone down significantly. And that's going to be the big difference because it's now become a behavior that we all accept to do. And yes, you could delete your profile, but you're going to come back.
So you make your money by making sure eyes are drawn to the companies that you help, that you represent. When we look at Facebook, despite this scandal, they were still making $3 billion during this time period. What are we to make of that?
Well, it's a business, and that's why Facebook's not going away. You're not going to go to Friendster or MySpace. So, you're talking about
CompuServe account, right?
But you think about this: there are billions of dollars being made every single day now because Facebook allows a brand to know exactly where you are the moment you see an ad, your behavior before, during that, and the location of when you saw that ad, and then what did you do after you saw that. That level of data and information is now something a brand expects to be able to get. And so they're not going to magically go away and try and find a new solution. They're going to like, okay, hey, all right, great, it's awesome. Terrible what this happened. Fix this. I'm still going to use your platform because I have to keep marketing to these people.
And on the flip side, do consumers want that? They want the targeted ads, right? They want, or they think they want, because they buy off of them.
Well, it's accepted behavior. Think about paywalls. For everyone who says, yes, I'll absolutely pay for content, the numbers for local newspapers, for other subscription services are still going downward. People want things for free, and if that means I have to look at an ad for 30 seconds and click away, I'm going to do it. That behavior isn't going away.
So should Facebook be regulated?
Well, what's happening in Europe is that there are regulations coming, and Facebook has accepted that and is playing ball. So I think what's going to end up happening here is there will probably be a few, cursory. We've made some progress. We're going to actually say that here are some things that we can do, so that it looks and feels like a regulation, but probably really isn't, because I don't think Congress has the appetite to go through this. If you remember going through the experience of watching the senators try and understand what Facebook was, the learning curve is so steep within Congress to actually what would need to happen for it to be massively stringent regulations. It's not there yet. So I think Facebook still has a lot of runway to make changes on their own without getting regulated.
What about you with your clients? Do you do work on Facebook as well?
Absolutely. It's a core part of our business. For us, when we're designing campaigns, whether it's for an event or if it's an online social media campaign, Facebook is our first stop, because we can get very bespoke data of who our customers are, target them in ways they want to be talked to, and hopefully make a purchase or attend an experience that we design.
And it also, the old joke about advertising, of course, is half of everything you do doesn't work. You don't know which half, but social media platforms help narrow that number significantly, don't they?
Absolutely. If you think about it this way, when you had radio, you kind of guessed how many people were listening to that ad. If with Nielsen, you sort of have an estimation of the number of eyeballs who are actually watching that TV commercial. With social media, you know exactly when and where someone was looking at your ad and what their behavior in and around that was, and who are like-minded around them. So who your friends are. They going to watch that kind of ad? Same kind of thing. So because of that level of detail, that level of granularity is so important that it's only going to get better and better and better. That data is not going to get dumber, it's going to get smarter.
Is there a tipping point, though, for consumers when they hear all the data information that they're giving them possibly being stolen? Is it more that people will hold more of it back from putting it on social media, or is there just a tipping point where they may walk away?
I think at this point there isn't a point where they're going to walk away. You're going to have people who will say, yes, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, but then they already have your data. It's like if you've ever uploaded your contact list to something, Facebook has your data. So yes, people could be upset. It will be something that I want to change my permission so I'm not giving everything out to the world. But that behavior and that understanding of, okay, if I'm going to be on social media, that means I'm going to give up some of my data, I'm going to be okay. And I also think it's going to be a generational thing, because if you look at the millennial Gen Z generation, yes, they care about privacy, but they also want to get stuff.
But that's actually an interesting point. You're talking about millennials and Facebook. Facebook is not grabbing millennials right now. They're
on
problem
Instagram.
there.
They're on Instagram.
Well, all right, so a Facebook product.
Yeah, so it's still a Facebook product. So is WhatsApp, and that's where they're going. So as those technologies get better, that same data, that same tracking is within Instagram. It's the same. It's the same thing. So you're not. It's not going away. But I think yes, older generations will absolutely feel like, oh, I want to delete this, and that will be the end of it. It isn't. Like what's happened now is that a lot of your data is out there. Yes, it was exposed in Cambridge Analytica. How do we move forward so that we can put some better safeguards or barriers in place? But it's not going to be an earth-shattering change. Like you're not going to open Facebook tomorrow and suddenly it's going to be $5.99 and then all your data is safe and secure. Never going to happen.
Not going to happen. So Laura, we are an international broadcast. We broadcast all over the world. I understand that Facebook is really pushing that international dimension. But what about here in the United States? Is that market shrinking?
I don't think it's shrinking. I think it's becoming more nuanced because, again, billions of dollars are being made every single month with advertising, spending money on Facebook and the platform. That's happening here in the U.S. because we're the most accustomed to free and open ads. But ignoring the rest of the world would be silly from a business standpoint. So of course they're going to keep going out further, which is also why they're accepting the regulations happening in Europe, because there's still money to be made there. So it's going to be a balance between the two. It's like, what do we have to do here in the U.S. that will placate some people who are very upset? Absolutely. But how do we also expand in broader emerging markets? And with Facebook, it makes sense for them to do that, and I don't think it's going to change.
And could it hurt small businesses that use Facebook if Facebook is forced into curtailing its data usage?
I think the likelihood of Facebook curtailing their usage
just not going to happen.
It's just not going to happen. I think when we first started out working with small businesses was our sort of key area, because a small business could find customers in New York and Lower East Side. So those sorts of behaviors and that ability to track and actually help a small business grow is part of the lifeblood of Facebook. And I think people oftentimes don't think about that. Think about where you get your recommendations for. Think about where you now look for your restaurants? Where do you get your photographers for your, for your child's christening? All those types of things all come off of Facebook. So this economy that is being powered by Facebook is the engine to this, and I think that's why you're not going to see a massive change, because this massive economy isn't shrinking; it's only going to get bigger.
It's only getting bigger. Thank you so much, Laura Mignon, is the CEO of the experience ad agency Flash, and of course the host of the Reset podcast. Always good to have my buddy Andrew Schmertz here. Thank you so much too, Andrew. Now, coming up, it cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make, and we have a review of the new Avengers movie. You're watching Arise America. You gonna watch it? You gonna watch the movie?